How did a brutal mistake in the middle of the night turn into a moment that would expose a powerful man's darkest secrets? Lena thought she had escaped the worst when she found shelter in a quiet town with her little sister. But when a stranger appeared outside their door at 2 a.m., everything changed. What he said, and what he didn't say, set off a chain reaction that would uncover crimes buried deep and force Lena to decide just how far a woman will go to protect the only family she has left. Stay with us. The twist will leave you breathless. The rain lashed against the windows of Maplewood Cafe, a small diner tucked away in the quiet New England town of Woodbury Falls. The kind of town where everyone knew your business and kept quiet about it. That afternoon, Logan Carter, a billionaire hotel magnate, found himself seated at a worn booth, looking far too polished for the setting in his tailored navy suit and gleaming cufflinks. But it wasn't the food that had caught his attention. It was the waitress. She moved quickly between tables, her steps quiet, efficient. Her name tag read Lena Harrington. Her long green hair was pulled back in a braid, but strands escaped to fall across her bruised cheekbone. She didn't flinch when she caught Logan's eyes lingering on the discoloration. "Will you be having the special today, sir?" she asked, her voice even but detached. Logan's gaze narrowed. "What happened to your face?" "I tripped," Lena replied flatly. "The special's meatloaf with garlic mashed potatoes." Logan hesitated, not because of the food, but because something in her tone felt like a plea or a warning. As Lena walked away, he noticed a little girl in the corner booth scribbling in a sketchbook. She couldn't have been older than 8. Her resemblance to Lena was unmistakable. The same determined brow, the same ocean gray eyes. Every few minutes, Lena would pass by and ruffle the girl's hair, her face softening with a love that momentarily erased her pain. "She's her sister," came a voice beside Logan. A woman with silver-streaked hair and a well-worn apron stood at the next booth. "I'm Mrs. Claire Whitman. I own the place. And you must be Logan Carter. Your face was in last week's business journal." Logan gave a polite smile. "You know the town well. In Woodbury Falls, nothing stays secret for long," she said, but her tone held a warning edge. "Especially when the Carter boy returns to revitalize the land his family left behind." Logan turned back toward the kitchen as Lena passed through the swinging doors. His steak sat untouched. All he could think about were the haunted eyes of that waitress and the thin, tense line of her mouth. Something was terribly wrong. As he stood to leave, a scream from the alley outside shattered the diner's peace. He bolted outside, just in time to see Lena pinned against the brick wall by a man in a damp trench coat. The girl's sketch pad lay in a puddle nearby. "I said the deadline was yesterday, Lena," the man snarled. "You think I won't take her from you? I know people in family services. Your sister will be gone before you even know she's missing." "Please, Rick, just a few more days," Lena begged. "Is there a problem here?" Logan's voice cracked like thunder. The man turned, sizing up Logan's 6 feet 3 inches frame and the confidence in his stance. "Private matter," the man said. "Just family business." "You don't put hands on your family like that," Logan shot back. "You need to leave now." "Name's Rick Mallister," the man sneered, flashing a fake smile. "Town market director." Logan didn't blink. "I don't care if you're the governor. Back off." Rick stepped back, but not without a final glare at Lena. "This isn't over." When he disappeared into the shadows, Lena collapsed against the wall, trembling. "Are you all right?" Logan asked, stepping closer. "Do you want me to call the police?" She shook her head violently. "No, that'll only make things worse." "Then tell me what he wants." "I owe him money. That's it." "That's not just it, Lena." She stared at the ground. "Look, thanks for helping. But please don't come back. You'll just make it harder for us." That night, as Logan reviewed blueprints for the new Carter Hills boutique hotel, a project intended to breathe new life into the family's long-abandoned estate, he couldn't shake the image of Lena's eyes. He tried to focus, but something about the fear she carried, it felt personal. An hour later, the emergency alert blared from his phone. Fire reported at Maplewood Cafe. By the time Logan reached the site, the back half of the cafe had been gutted by flames. The smell of smoke and charred wood lingered. Fire crews were packing up. In the corner, under a dripping awning, Lena huddled with her sister, both wrapped in a wet blanket, eyes wide with trauma. "It wasn't an accident," she whispered as Logan approached. "Rick did this. He warned me." The younger girl clung to Lena's neck, hiding from the world. "Come with me," Logan said without hesitation. "I have a guest cabin on the property. No strings attached. We don't need your charity, Lena snapped through clenched teeth. It's not charity. It's the right thing to do. And right now, you have no roof over your head. Claire appeared beside them, covered in soot, her apron singed. He's right, Lena. Take the help. I'll be fine here. Lena finally nodded, and Logan led them to his SUV. That night, the cabin, though modest, was a sanctuary of warmth. As Lena tucked her sister into bed, she returned to the living room where Logan had stoked a fire. Why are you doing this? She asked, arms crossed. You don't even know us. Logan stared into the flames. Let's just say I owe this town more than money. And I recognize someone drowning when I see it. Lena lowered her guard just slightly. Rick owns half this town, even the police. What does he have on you? She hesitated, then quietly said, I was in med school. Our parents died. I came back to take care of my sister. Took over my family's cafe. Got a loan from Rick. Then he started asking for other things. Logan's jaw tightened. And the bruises? I said no. Silence hung thick between them. Then, from the bedroom came a tiny voice. Lena is. It's safe now. Lena smiled sadly. Go to sleep, baby. We're safe for tonight. But even as she said it, they both knew it was only the beginning. What would you have done in Logan's place? Would you have walked away, or stayed and gotten involved? That night, Logan barely slept. He sat by the fireplace long after Lena had retreated to the guest room, his thoughts tangled in the storm she'd pulled him into. There was something about her silence that said more than words ever could, something about the weight she carried that made him feel responsible, even though he barely knew her. And yet the bruise on her cheek, the little girl's frightened eyes, the burned remains of a cafe. That was enough. The next morning, he found Lena outside, barefoot in the frost-kissed grass, staring into the woods behind the cabin. Her sister, Sophie, was still asleep, curled like a kitten beneath the heavy quilts. Lena didn't turn when she heard his footsteps. I had a dream last night, she said softly. I was back in school, walking across campus with my books. My parents were waiting on a bench near the library. They were alive. Sophie was laughing. Logan said nothing, only listened. And then, her voice cracked. Everything caught fire. She finally turned to face him. That's what my life feels like, Logan. Every time I get close to something good, it burns. Then maybe it's time you stop standing in the smoke and start walking away from it, he said. You deserve better. And so does Sophie. Lena gave a dry laugh. People say that like it's a choice. I can't just walk away from someone like Rick Mallister. He has power here. He knows how to make things disappear. Logan stepped closer. He's already burned down your cafe, assaulted you, and threatened your sister. That's not power, that's fear. And fear only grows if you let it. You don't understand, she whispered. He threatened to call child services. Said I was unstable. That if I didn't start being reasonable, he'd make sure Sophie was taken away. Logan's jaw clenched. Let him try. That afternoon, while Lena took Sophie into town to replace a few essentials, Logan made a call. His assistant, Charlotte, picked up immediately. Tell me you're not calling to reschedule the Woodbury project again. Actually, Logan said, I need a background check. Deep, on a man named Rick Mallister. He's listed as Woodbury Falls Market Director. But I want everything, property, finances, lawsuits, connections. There was a pause. You've got that tone, Charlotte said. The one you use when you're about to blow up someone's life. Then I'm using it right. That evening, Lena returned with a bag of groceries and an unreadable expression. Sophie ran to Logan with a coloring book and immediately plopped down beside him, as if she'd known him for years. I've never seen her take to anyone so quickly, Lena said from the doorway. She's always been slow to trust. Maybe she sees something I don't, Logan replied, smiling at the child now coloring a picture of a man in a cape. She says that's you, Lena murmured. Says you look like someone who rescues people. He looked at the drawing and went quiet. Later that night, while Sophie slept, Logan and Lena sat outside under the stars. The silence between them was no longer uncomfortable, just heavy with all the things they weren't yet saying. What's your story? Lena finally asked. Men like you don't just wander into dying towns and start saving strangers. Logan stared into the darkness. I lost someone. My sister, Emily. She was 17. Took her own life after years of hiding abuse from her boyfriend. We didn't see the signs. Or maybe we did, and looked away. Lena's breath caught. I buried myself in work after that. Built Carter Hills from nothing. Made a fortune. But nothing ever filled that space she left behind. Then I came back here, to the town we grew up in, thinking I'd fix something outside myself. You don't owe me your past, Lena said quietly. Maybe I don't. But it's yours now. Suddenly, headlights flickered through the trees. A dark car pulled up near the cabin. Logan stood, instantly alert. The driver stepped out, hands raised. Easy, the man said. I'm with Child Protective Services. Name's Tom Grady. We received a call about a possible child welfare situation at this address. Lena stepped forward, panic rising in her throat. What? Someone reported that a minor, Sophie Harrington, was living in an unfit environment. No stable home. No income. No adult supervision during work hours. That's a lie, Logan snapped. She's safe with her sister, under my roof. Sir, I need to see the child. Lena's eyes blazed. She's asleep, and you are not waking her. I can return with police if necessary, Tom said calmly, though he didn't look like he wanted to. Logan pulled out his phone and dialed. Charlotte, get me Judge Harland on the line. Now. Within minutes, the agent had a signed letter from the county judge confirming temporary guardianship under emergency protection laws, based on Logan's legal sponsorship. Tom nodded. Seems someone's pulling strings. No, Logan said coldly. Just doing what's right. After the car disappeared into the night, Lena turned to him, hands trembling. How did you do that? I've got connections, he replied simply. And I plan on using every last one to keep her safe. And you? Lena's voice broke. I don't know how to thank you. You don't have to. Just don't give up. But as she stepped inside to check on Sophie, Logan stayed on the porch, looking out at the dark woods. In his chest, a quiet storm brewed. He knew Rick Mallister wouldn't stop. And for the first time in years, he felt something he hadn't since Emily died, purpose. If you were Lena, would you have trusted Logan this soon? Or pushed him away even more? And what would you do if your past came knocking with the power to destroy your future? 2 nights after the child services scare, Lena woke up to the sound of a car door slamming. It was 2:13 a.m. A shadow passed the cabin's front window. Her heart jumped as she grabbed the baseball bat Logan had left near the fireplace. Sophie stirred in the next room, but Lena moved silently past her, barefoot on creaking floorboards. She reached the door and opened it just an inch. A man in a dark hoodie stood facing the woods, and then Logan stepped into view. It's okay, he said calmly, voice firm but low. Stay inside. Lena opened the door wider. What's going on? The man turned around slowly. It was Rick Mallister. I just came to talk, he said with a smirk. No need to make this messy. Logan didn't budge. You showing up uninvited in the middle of the night already is messy. Rick's voice sharpened. I know about the judge and the background checks. And I know you're the reason I'm suddenly being investigated for tax fraud. Logan's arms stayed folded across his chest. Then maybe stop committing crimes. Rick's grin vanished. You think you're the hero in all this? You're just another rich fool who thinks he can fix everything with a checkbook. But Lena, she knows better, don't you, sweetheart? Lena stepped forward. Don't call me that. He turned to her, face twisting. You think this man's going to save you? You think he'll stick around when things get ugly? They never do. They all leave. I was the only one who. You were the one who hit me, she cut in. You were the one who burned down my parents' cafe and terrified a child. Rick took a step forward. Logan was faster. You need to leave now. Before I call the state police. Rick looked at both of them and laughed, but there was no humor in it. You've made a mistake, both of you. Then he walked away into the trees. By morning, Logan had arranged for private security to be stationed near the cabin. Lena didn't argue. That day, Logan also brought a proposal to Lena and Sophie. He decided to expand his foundation's focus. A new community center would be built right here in Woodbury Falls, and Lena would be invited to lead its outreach program. Safe housing, legal aid, job training, education. I want you to help me design it, he said. You know what people in crisis need. You've lived it. Lena stared at the blueprint. This is more than a job. This is a second chance. Logan nodded. Maybe it's a first chance for all of us. Things moved fast after that. With Logan's legal team applying pressure, Rick's grip on the town began to loosen. The investigation into his finances expanded. Employees he'd once threatened began coming forward. And one morning, a confidential report arrived at Logan's office. Evidence that Rick had paid a man to disable the cafe security system the night of the fire. It was enough to issue an arrest warrant. But it was too late. Rick had vanished. Disappeared overnight, without a trace. Lena's body was a wire of tension. He's out there somewhere. Logan placed a gentle hand on her back. He's running now. Not hunting. You took away his power. But fear has a long shadow. Weeks passed. Lena kept looking over her shoulder, checking locks twice, flinching when the phone rang. Still, she didn't stop working. She drafted community programs, led local meetings, even returned to night classes. One night, while reviewing building plans, Logan looked up and found Lena staring at him. "What?" he asked. She tilted her head. "Why me? What do you mean? You could have picked anyone to help with this. You could have fixed this town without dragging a broken single mom into it." He smiled gently. "Maybe I wasn't fixing the town. Maybe I was just finding my way home." She laughed, but her eyes filled with tears. "That's cheesy. True things usually are." 3 months later, the community center opened with a full crowd. Sophie cut the ribbon with oversized scissors and the biggest smile Logan had ever seen. Lena stood beside her in a navy dress, her hair down, face lit up in a way he hadn't seen before. And then it happened. As people mingled after the ceremony, a black car rolled slowly past the lot. Logan noticed it immediately. So did Lena. The plates were out of state. The windows tinted. It drove on. Never stopped. But that night, for the first time since Rick disappeared, Lena didn't panic. She stood tall at the window, her hands steady. "I'm not afraid of him anymore," she said. "He can't unmake what we've built." Logan kissed her shoulder. "And if he ever comes back, he'll find out just how strong you really are." Months passed. Lena's program helped dozens of families find new paths. Sophie made friends at school and won an art contest with a painting of a cabin under the stars. Logan added more funding to expand the center statewide. One evening, he and Lena stood watching Sophie read aloud to a group of children by the fireplace inside the center they built together. "You changed my life," Lena whispered. Logan shook his head. "You saved mine." As they walked home that night, snow began to fall, soft, silent, peaceful. The kind that blankets even the sharpest memories. And for the first time in years, neither of them looked over their shoulder. So now it's your turn. What did you think of Lena and Logan's journey? Did this story touch your heart or leave you thinking? If it moved you, drop a 100 in the comments and tell us where in the world you're watching from. And if someone you know needs to believe in second chances, share this story with them, because sometimes the wrong person walking into your life turns out to be the one who saves.